So Martin, between the first resurrection, as we have seen, and the second resurrection, there's a period of 1,000 years. But that 1,000 years, unfortunately for those who believe that, does not take place on earth. Because the righteous have been taken away.
Yeah, and there's nothing left on earth.
So we have to ask the question, what about the righteous during the millennium? What do they do? Revelation 20 verse 6 tells us what they do. They shall be priests of God and of Christ, and they shall reign with him 1,000 years. Now, Martin, when you reign with someone, has that got to do with government?
Yes.
All right. Now, Martin, the righteous, do they now become the government of heaven and rule over the angels?
No.
Obviously not. So what kind of reign is this, right? How do they reign together with Christ? And what do they do in terms of reigning? Now, when you reign over someone, then you also apply the law. Correct?
Definitely.
Because that's what governments do. They're there to maintain law and order. So in what way do they reign? Verse 4, I saw thrones, and they sat upon them, and judgment was given unto them. This is a very important verse. And it corroborates Daniel 7 verse 22, and judgment was given to the saints.
Yes.
Now, this happens during the millennium. Now, obviously, everybody has already been judged because the righteous were resurrected, so they must have been judged. The living righteous were translated, and the unrighteous were condemned, and the unrighteous dead weren't resurrected.
Yes.
All right? So the judgment has already taken place.
The verdict has been given.
Verdict has been given. And who gave that verdict?
Jesus Christ.
Doesn't the Bible say all judgment has been given unto him?
Yes.
So he has judged everyone. Martin, you want to be in that judgment, but you want to be in the judgment that took place before Christ came.
Yeah.
In that investigative judgment. Because if he didn't give judgment in your favor during the investigative phase, you wouldn't be part of this judgment that is handed over to you.
Yeah.
All right, so in what way does this take place? Well, obviously, people will want to know how God judged, why God judged the way that he did. So in other words, I call this a judgment of verification. God's people will get the chance to see why Aunt Mary and Aunt Sophie and Uncle Tom, that seemed so nice, aren't there. And why Manasseh, who murdered so many people, and Nebuchadnezzar, the proud king of Babylon, why is he there? Right? And why are there some individuals missing and some present? And what happened here on earth? What happened behind closed doors? What happened in those secret meetings where certain things were planned? Whatever was done in secret will be what?
Revealed.
And will be shouted from the rooftop. Yeah. So now judgment was given to them. So the books were there. So now you can study and find out exactly whether God's judgment was absolutely fair.
Yeah.
And this is the sense. God's people will be given an opportunity to have insight into the judgment of Jesus Christ, to make absolutely sure that everything was fair, so that every question, every doubt will be answered. So 1 Corinthians 6 verse 2 and 3 says, do you not know that saints shall judge the world? Know ye not that we shall judge angels? Now Martin, what angels will we judge?
The fallen ones.
Obviously, right? The other ones need no judgment.
No, they didn't.
So these are the fallen angels. So were these fallen angels already judged? Weren't they thrown out of heaven?
Yes.
Now who did that judgment?
Jesus.
Exactly. So now here, this is what they will do. We will look at the whole plan of salvation and the whole controversy issue, the battle between good and evil from its inception in heaven all the way through to the end. How many billions of individuals are there to be judged?
Yeah. Almost like the sand of the sea.
That'll take a while.
Yeah.
It'll take a while. And every nuance of history. Wouldn't it be interesting to see what happened behind the scenes in certain corridors and certain chambers? Wouldn't it be interesting to know what was the real history? And those final questions. What happened to Kennedy? What happened to Abraham Lincoln? What happened in the various nations of Europe? What happened between the religious systems and the secular systems? What happened in Africa? What happened in Southern Africa? Fascinating questions. We're going to be very busy, Martin, and we will have to judge according to the law.
That's it.
So that's ruled together with Christ.
That's what Jesus used.
So the judgment then shows that God did everything that He could to save every person. There will still be some question marks. The question mark will be, what if I could have reached that person? Surely if they see clearly, they can change their minds, right? This requires a second resurrection.
Yes.
And then, of course, justice demands that the unrighteous face the consequences, that they should be informed as to why and where they made their choice. Right?
Yeah.
This requires a resurrection. This requires the tyrants of the world to be resurrected, to stand before a tribunal that cannot be duped. Right?
Yeah. And even those angels that will stand with them there.
Correct.